Um, Before we begin today's session, I would also like to introduce and thank our partner here, IvyCap Ventures. Uh, they will be coordinating and helping us coordinate the upcoming sessions under this Global Readiness Sprint Series. IvyCap Ventures, I assume everyone knows about them, but just to quickly recap, this fund was founded in 2011, and it's one of the leading venture capital funds in India, leveraging IIT and IM alumni network and ecosystems. They have offices in India as well as in US and Singapore, and they are managing $650 million of assets with 65 plus companies in their portfolio. We are joined here by Namami and Ananya. They have been helping us put this series together. Ananya looks at the ecosystem strategy and initiatives and is, behind the hard work to bring all the speakers on board and finding us the cool speakers that you will get to witness as we move along in this series. I'll request Ananya to take it over and introduce the speaker for today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Love. It's great pleasure for us being at IvyCap to do these sessions, and thanks for giving us this opportunity. Um, and thanks for introducing IvyCap very well in all terms to the startups as well. So, hi everyone, I am Ananya from IvyCap Ventures. So, we will be doing more sessions on this to help you prepare before you travel to France, and this is a great pleasure for us to do this. And today I would like to heartily welcome Yogesh Sharma, who is one of our mentor, who is an IIT Roorkee graduate and who have been with us along our journey to support us at IvyCap and our startups throughout. And I would like to welcome Yogesh and thank you so much for taking time to be with us here to help our startups for the Bharat Innovates session. So over to you, Yogesh.
Thank you very much, Ananya. Thanks, Dr. Love. I'm glad to be here. So, I, just to give you a little background about, um, so I have been in Europe for more than 5 years now. Um, so in this particular time period, I have understood a little bit about different parts of the Europe. Before that, I was in India, and before that, I was in US for about 5 years. So basically, it has been a journey so far. I started my technology stint in 97, 98 when I did my thesis in supercomputing and AI in Sweden headquarters. From there onwards, I have been working with various Fortune 500 companies and others, providing them services on technology area. For last 14 years, I have been seeing this on through the IT company which I founded, and before that, I had a couple of other founding companies which were like in manufacturing and digital advertising, digital mobile gaming domains, and all that stuff. So that has given me a little insight into what type of different sales cycles are in different domains and all that. So um, bring that perspective from today's perspective, which I am assuming that we have some startups which are on early stage, and some startups are in growth stage, I would say. Well, I welcome everyone to have this session, and I would really welcome any questions if you would have at the end of the session. I'll try to cover it up within 60 minutes time period, and then we can have some session about Q&A, about 10 to 15 minutes more. As I can see that there are some different startups which are in deep tech, semiconductor, quantum, and AI. So I'm not sure how many are these in different segments, but I've tried to keep it in a general sense that what business ecosystem is as of now in Europe, and how somebody can look at it from different perspective. If you look into this after session, I expect that you would get something related to business culture in Europe. As you would realize down the line, because Europe is not a single geography, it is multiple different countries, and different regions have different nuances to it. And then similarly, like different type of procurement cycles and all that stuff go on in how you should get ready with reaching out to your customers and type of do's and don'ts which you should keep in mind. And then there are some things specifics which we, being from the Indian geography, we tend to do sometimes from the US bias and all that stuff. And then that is something which we will have to look into, that what should be avoided. And then probably there are some steps which you guys can figure out, and there are lots of information available online as well, what all things you need to do or to optimize your effort from outcome perspective. But those are certain things which you can start planning before you attend that event in France, if in person you are attending. If I give you a glimpse of Europe's AI opportunity window, right? So it is specifically related to sheer numbers are there. People are aware of that. So there is some research which has been done by McKinsey, and then they published some information about it. We have to just look into that. More than half of European knowledge work is automatable through AI. The problem isn't the technology, it's the implementation. They have the budget, they don't have the capability. So that's something which we keep on hearing from different customers in different parts of Europe. And for those who are building AI agent platforms, agentic infrastructure and all that stuff, or at the semiconductor level AI, this is your market signal. And this is like 82% of AI from AI agents that way. And when it comes to the opportunity window, it's right here. And I would say that it's not a 3 to 6 months time period which you need to look at from closing the deal perspective. When you reach out to the opportunities, you have to have that mindset of 18 to 24 months time period. So, but then it's about knowing the geography or the people around it in this June trip if you are attending that. So that is something which I would say. Now, when we go to the different parts of Europe, right? So there are high opportunity sectors which are there. Now, specifically, if you look into manufacturing and industrial AI, that is Germany is leading that front. And France and Netherlands are more in fintech and compliance automation side, you can see. And healthcare and BPM, France and Nordics region. And then Netherlands is again in retail and logistics AI. As you would know that it's a gateway to Europe from the logistics perspective, because all the ships and all that stuff, from freight and everything comes from the Rotterdam port. So these are certain areas, but then specifically, if you look into German market, it's very big in industrial AI, $486 billion opportunities there, which is all related to your engineering and predictive maintenance and all that stuff. You can plan for that. Now, when we talk about this landscape specifically, right? So these are like four distinct areas. Netherlands is one, which you can always see that little bit faster among all these. When we say fast, then with respect to US, it is not fast. US is a completely different geography. But out of these four areas specifically in this particular thing, so Netherlands is fast enough as compared to others. Germany is slow, and Nordics is medium, and then France is slowest. Now, I'll come to that specifically. When we look into Germany market, the credibility bar is very high. They expect process documentation, compliance stories, and ISO credentials and all that stuff. Our technology pedigree, which we bring in, is a genuine differentiator from that perspective. And quality, I mean, and with depth knowledge in that particular technology area is key for that. And in Nordics region, when we talk about it, it's accessible. It's English first, again, consensus driven. Um, there's a natural home for you there, but then decisions are slow because they need team buy-in, not just a kind of one person who is even a CIO or COO or CFO. So there's a team decision which is there always. When we talk about France, that is the hardest to crack in a way that um, it's really they're looking for long-term value. And if you go and tell them that we'll do something in a short span of time, they will not believe that. And I mean, in this, we talk about the biggest mistake is treating this whole area as a one market, which is not a good thing to do. So these are all different markets in a way. And specific to Nordics market, if I come to, then you can see very well this is underrated usually by Indian founders. Let me put it this way. However, there's a good opportunity there as well. Low competition and high accessibility. Especially when we talk about Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Norway, these are the key markets there. And they're doing very good in certain areas, which you can see on the screen. And decide yourself which one is fit for you guys from that perspective. But then their reach out is easier as compared to the French market because of the English acceptability and then you talk about the VC backed companies are also there a lot. And if you talk about specifically the Norway maritime and sovereign wealth is a key thing. And yeah, I mean, that's something which is about Nordic, but that may not interest that much to many people. It depends on specific domain. Now, when we talk about France specifically, let me come and cover that in detail a little bit. This is something which is the hardest to crack because of simple reason that they are it is a one of the largest startup hubs, I would say. You would have heard about that Station F. And they are like there are global programs which they run and direct connections to French enterprises. BPI is again one of the things which is their public investment bank actively looking for funding different startups and all that stuff. And when it comes to, I mean, they really look for high deep tech, high quality products and integrate those in their ecosystem. However, when you go there in that market, when you try to understand, the language is one of the real barrier. Somebody will have to really acquaint themselves from that perspective. The language nuances, cultural nuances, it's really, really very important there. And when we try to understand the ecosystem, there's something called the grandest ecologist effect, which means there are some premium institutes from technology and management perspective, and a lot of people at the senior level in different companies, they come from these specific institutes, and there are some kind of cohorts and the groups which are there, and they really prefer to talk to those people who are from their relevant, like very simple, right? So from your alumni um, uh, network, from somewhere somebody comes, then you will be easily kind of open up to those people. And that is a very, very prominent there in France specifically. So what it means is that cold outreach is really, really very difficult uh, for achieving results that way. You'll have to go and connect with the local network, um, have some local people working besides you to penetrate in that circle, um, and they definitely um, give a lot of respect to the people who come even a little bit from the language background and know the little nuances of the language specifically. I'll give you some example on that by real experience, what happened and how it works. There is always two different layers in the organization. One which is visible to us, and the other one is really invisible, and then that makes the difference. And that is what we have to understand for any customer to break in, and business to grow there. I got in touch with one of the really, I would say, decent position guy, and it seemed to me that he's a very influential and all that stuff. And started meeting, and the first meeting was okay, sort of thing, that he tried to understand, and I also tried to understand and all that stuff. But then second meeting was not that quick. So after 4 weeks, sometimes I got that, and then third meeting again, it was a trust establishment meeting and all that stuff. But then the door was opened to the CIO, and even after that, it was not easy walk. Procurement took their own time, legal their own time. So, and CIO and CXO level people also do not have any particular pressure or say to that particular thing, that, what legal and procurement people are taking their own sweet time. So they do have their own way of doing it. Now, even after completing all that whole 9 yards, we didn't get the full project. I mean, it was only a POC that we got, and then we proceeded further. So this is the kind of speed they work with. um, and I would not say it is a failure, it is a kind of a win, if even if we are getting the POC and those kind of things. However, if we connect to the right network, um, the people who are already in that ecosystem, there are certain organizations which are there from Indian origin, people also are in part of those organizations, and they have established themselves in the market. Then the doors may be opened little sooner than if you go like on your own. So that's the kind of difference which we have there. They definitely have the respect for the intellectual knowledge and all that stuff. So if we look into that, like I mentioned, language is a signal of commitment. We have to know on that part. When it comes to socializing, um, it's something like we will have to really look forward to if somebody is agreeing on business lunch or dinner or something like that. But then that should not be considered as a kind of um, warm lead, because you may never know how many other people you will have to influence. And if you, in the first go in the meeting, you mention about the kind of growth charts, and we will be able to do that in 3 months, a lot of number of daily active users for SaaS company, or maybe we'll be able to sell these many products for you, and we'll be able to deliver these many products to you from our accelerator, that will not land well, because they do not believe in the kind of fast moving things that way. So that is something which is specific nuance from that perspective. It takes a little bit time for them to go step by step, but they do believe in quality and deep knowledge about the field itself. So um, again, procurement is one thing which we will have to look into. So this is just a kind of timeline which you're looking into in any customer place. when it's going. Easily 6 months to 9 months, or even more than that, it takes. It's really, I would say, it's a process, um, and patience is the signal. So relationship you build during 11 months is what you will be um, managing for next 10 years, because once you get in, um, you will be, it's a kind of Indian marriage sort of thing. So once you are uh, glued to them and then started providing services, unless somebody screws up big time, it's a long haul, and it is a long-term customer building thing which you will get into. When I say specifically the startup trap, um, there are few things which we need to be careful about. Um, this Many times we have some specific nuances, like for example, US playbook error, right? So what it means is that, again, 10x in 18 months. So that will not land well. Um, and they they believe that this is more aggressive than it can be achieved if we go in that way. And even if you have first meeting and it seems warm to you, uh, it's not warm. It is something which gives you a signal to move to the next one, but you haven't earned the right to sell yet. It's about understanding their problem first. And then if we believe that without a local face we'll be able to crack the deal, that would be also a problem. We will have to really look into that. How do we fix that? Um, Not knowing specifically who HEC is, which are specific platforms which could be used for providing benefits to the customers. That is very important. And also, um, uh, like for example, Dutch people are supposed to be very direct, and German people are different a little bit from that perspective. Similarly, same pitch deck will not work well in Amsterdam and Munich, it seems that way. And uh, when you look into it, it's very easy to say that these countries are very near to each other and all that stuff, but culturally they're very different. And it's part of one Europe, but they're not a single. So basically, we will have to really look into that. If somebody is being polite, then it's not warm. That's a kind of signal we will have to look into. And these are specific mistakes which we will have to avoid when we are talking about in European geography, and specifically in France, when we go with. Specifically, let's say, for example, you are going to there in the mid of June and next 3 weeks, what you should do from that perspective. So that is something which you need to look into. Look at some specific things on the LinkedIn side, what type of messaging you want to give, what type of posts you want to have. Um, Emotional connect is very important in the French market specifically. And I remember that one time it happened that I met with one of the key persons there, and in one of the organizations, and then he introduced me to the CIO, and the things went very well, and it went for a few months. We agreed on certain piece of work to be awarded to us, and he gave the verbal go ahead. And certainly, it just happened that we did not get the contract from them for a few weeks, and then I followed up and then found out that they awarded it to French company, which was headquartered in France, and then they had like French speaking people with them. So basically, you'll have to look into that how do you bring that connectivity in your profile with a French connect, either through your local representatives in France or like French as a language you can pick up or you have picked up, then it's a good thing for you. And then specifically, there are some good, I would say, cohorts which are there. Within France, we have IIT alumni people in different areas. And there are some Chamber of Commerce type of bodies which are there. So we have to, as startup organization, take help from them to better integrate in that and then get penetration in that area. So that is something which you need to maybe tie up with some of the people to get more insight into that. And also do thorough research on the people who are there, whom you are planning to meet during that event. That way, and have a mindset that you're not going to close the deal soon, but build a relationship within the next 1 to 2 months or 3 months that will eventually lead to close the deal in next 12 months or so. So that's something which is a mindset which we need to have and go for it. When you meet with the people, there are few do's and don'ts which I suggest that we need to keep in mind. Um, it's self-explanatory, but specifically arrive knowing something specific about the person you're meeting beyond their job title is very important. The most important avoid is the quoting growth metrics and DAUs in the first meeting. So do not be aggressive in that and just try to understand as much as possible about the person. And like we have to really look into that. What's the most uncomfortable thing to avoid? So how you currently pitch. So these are certain things which you have to do your own research as well, and make that a point before taking a deep dive on that part. Now, once you return from that visit or that event is over, specifically, I would say follow-up is very important, and relevant information should be tagged to those people so that they are aware that what you talk to them about, it's just, getting visible to them that you are taking some actions on those, and you are there in the market, showcasing your product, showcasing your capabilities in different areas, or be product or be service, depending upon which area you are in. And if there is any IP related things which you guys have really worked upon and the progress you have made in this time, um, be sure to highlight that on the social media and tag them and send a kind of newsletter to them on a regular basis, which is not kind of um, pressurizing way. It's a kind of knowledge sharing way that you are doing. That will lend well. And definitely, as India, the strength we have to position is really very important. As we say that we are doing very well in certain areas, we have to substantiate it with those specific cases or case studies, and highlight what type of accelerators are there with us to help us go in that path successfully. So these are certain things. This plan has to be created with the help of the ecosystem which you are associated with, and a cohesive approach will have to be chalked out to present to those type of customers to penetrate in that market. I think these are pretty much the items I would say which need to be kept in mind. I will just highlight this one, that you keep this in mind. Um, Relationship before transaction, and bring a local face. And this is the journey to begin with in June when you're going to be there. So this is something which I will open for the questions specifically if you guys have. I think uh, I have not taken even 45 minutes to complete it. It was a little too soon to do that, but I thought it will be good to have a conversation after that. If there are any specific areas which I need to cover, then I can do that also.
Sure. Thank you so much, Yogesh. It's covered in a very crisp, within less than 45 minutes. So I think to all the founders and attendees here, I think we should utilize the rest of the time to ask as many questions as possible, because now that you've got a crisp idea about, how to see the market, what are the expectation, how to engage. Now I think we do have enough time left and we should utilize this to engage. So I would like to open it for all of you, so you can raise your hand and then unmute yourself and then I think ask questions.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. My name is Harsh Sethi. I'm from Trinano Technologies, and we have developed 3D quantum cladding for application on renewable solar energy. So we work with any even existing panels to improve the efficiency. We have been in touch with a couple of European companies, EDP in Portugal, NG, and Total in France. And there have been some discussions for pilots as well. So we are done with their subsidiary in India for a pilot. We have also been invited by EDP. So I'll be going to Portugal end of this month before going to France. They've invited
Okay.
us. But the question they have mostly asked is that because of their assets and all, they would like us to set up uh, some operations research institute or what the work we are doing in Europe, and they're willing to fund also. So that is something we are in a dilemma whether we should go ahead and do it, because India, as it is, it's a very big market. And considering the situation, Europe has just recently opened, but in Europe, most of the earlier solar panel were coming from Chinese manufacturers, and we haven't had any exposure to Chinese panel manufacturers unless they are in India. We haven't worked with Chinese panel manufacturers directly. We have only worked with existing solar farms where they have used. So that is a question which I would like your, advice on.
Dr. Harsh, first of all, thank you very much for highlighting this question. So there are various accelerators which are available in Europe, and especially in Netherlands, France, and also in Germany. And there are specific organizations which are there. And I know a couple of people closely, and they are working on creating these type of hubs, I would say. When you named these companies, energy companies, did you explore RWE as well? Because RWE is the largest energy company, if that is of something of interest. So um, I would I would like to explore that for you in that way, because that is something they might have some kind of program from that perspective. And Chief Strategy Officer of RWE is from IIT Delhi,
Oh,
a good
okay.
friend of mine.
So
And
very good.
so I can find out from him. If you can send me a little bit about your
Sure.
um,
Okay.
you know initiatives which you have taken so far, so that I can look at what has been done, what steps have been taken so far, and then based on that, what could be the next, and maybe connection could be established between different startup or incubators or
Yeah.
R&D centers, where you can get little relevant help from setup perspective. But that is for sure that any European company, when they are going for such kind of deep tech collaboration, they would like the establishment of the facility in Europe somewhere. They would not like to completely 100% outsource to different geography. That is for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope
Thank you
that
so
will
much,
help
sir.
you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'll be in touch
Welcome.
with you to
Yeah,
seek the details of RW. Thank you. Thank you so
sure,
much.
sure.
Great, sir.
Welcome. Yes, Pankaj, you have raised the hand.
Hello,
hand.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing the insights about the European market. It was very, very useful for us, and it will help us actually because
Thank you
otherwise
very much.
you're lost actually when you go
Yeah.
some new place. And although we are confident about our technology, but uh, how it is perceived there, that matters a lot. So in the same regard, actually, because we are also in the clean energy domain, and we
Okay.
develop floating solar plants in India. So RWE is, of course, it's like one of the biggest player in France, and we would also be very keen to because we are from IIT Kharagpur. So
Okay.
if that can help us to connect, if that can be the uh, connect common thread, that will be of great help actually. If you can help us to connect to.
So Pankaj, I would say that please share your uh, like product details and what exactly you are providing and what type of support you need. And if you are trying to establish your company here in Europe, then what is the offering which you are having for those companies or those customers, what type of customers you're looking at. That will help me in understanding that. And then based on that, we can have the connections made. No problem at all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Just definitely
Welcome.
we'll drop a detail about it.
Okay.
Hi, I think before the next question, there are two things I would like to highlight. So I have shared an email ID on the chat where you can reach out to us and then we will discuss with Yogesh ji and we will do the required introductions with Yogesh and to take it forward. Secondly, would be really would appreciate all of your support and sharing the feedback because we are being will be doing 7 to 8 more sessions with all of you. I'll be meeting you all in next 7 more days, so this will help both IvyCap and Yogesh to look at the feedback and understand things, and also moving forward this will help us to incorporate your suggestions as well. So two things, I've dropped in our email ID where you can reach out to us where we will do the introduction with Yogesh. Secondly is about the feedback. Yeah. Over to others. If you have questions, please do raise your hands and please go ahead. Yes, Brigu, please go ahead.
Hi, Yogesh. My name is Brigu from Astron Technologies. So one quick question. I know you have focused a lot more on Western Europe, but what's your perspective about Eastern Europe? Because that happens to be a good market for us. I'm speaking from the perspective of or the background of telecom and satellite communication technology. And these markets, the East European markets, from what we understand, are a lot more open, and there's a lot of acceleration happening towards, let's say 5G networks, for example, or having their own sovereign satellite networks or constellations. Have you had any experience from the perspective of approaching Eastern European markets? Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So Eastern European market, purposefully, I did not cover. I thought we are focusing more on this particular part of the Europe, but that's a very good question. So Eastern European market is definitely, as you said, it is very open. However, again, in Eastern European market, the things come from a competition point of view. They look for the better technology, no doubt about it. For Indians specifically, it is very open because a lot of Indian companies or Indian origin companies have set up their own centers there. As far as the price point is concerned, that is one thing specifically. Is sometimes it is not that lucrative for people to set up, and from the companies from offering perspective, but from production point of view, from your development centers point of view, all that stuff, People are definitely setting up their own shops there. As far as acceptability is concerned, they are pretty open to accept the technologies because they are themselves not that advanced in these ones. So those are a relatively easier market to crack. But then local presence is required there as well. In many places, you go, then local language is sort of barrier as well there also. But in that region also, there are some of the groups which are there, Indian origin groups, which help people to connect with the local authorities and then and different customers which can be connected. So again, like I said to other gentlemen, so you can also share your details about your product and these kind of things, and we'll be able to happily connect with the relevant people to open up the market there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I think we do have a little more time, so I think we should definitely utilize this because we won't get anybody better than Yogesh to help us on to understand the Europe market and his expertise. So I think I would let a little more time to for people to ask questions, Yogesh.
Yeah,
Sure, I mean,
Yogesh,
that's fine.
this is
I'm good and no problem at all.
yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Uh, Hi, Yogesh. This is Ravi Kiran, founder of Medev Plus. Thank you very much for the crisp and very clear presentation. I think, with your permission, I'll use your slide color combinations. That was amazing, actually. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yes, sure. Thank you. So, my very focused question here is we already sell in Europe, especially in countries like UK, Ireland, Greece, Italy, and now trying to expand into France and other parts of Germany. And
Okay.
what we do actually is we created a device called eye scanner that scans the eye for advanced eye diseases,
Okay.
such as AMD, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy. These things can be scanned at a point of care. Earlier or before us, these can be scanned only at tertiary centers, but because of our product, it can be scanned in point of care locations. Now, all the sales we have done so far is to the bigger hospitals for pediatric applications, because so far
Okay.
there is no player who can cater to pediatrics. Uh, we want to expand into primary clinics and the vision care centers. As far as I know, my research in for Europe market tells me that the current countries that I have already spoken, and you also mentioned those four countries, this kind of diagnostics is well established, and there is a huge market. Uh, is there a scope in Europe for a new market, as in, like, say, when it comes to Bosnia and Serbia, those kind of countries are still not accepting this kind of technology to penetrate into primary care centers.
Mhm.
That is my understanding. Can you clarify if this is correct, or maybe I haven't done my research properly? In short, for primary care, making the primary care centers equipped with the technology that can act as a tertiary centers. Is there scope for such technologies?
So first of all, you have successfully deployed your technology in a few countries in Europe already. So that establishes the fact that you are complying with the local regulations and laws and all that stuff, because healthcare specifically is very, very strict here. Whenever we come from another geography or another product we bring in, that has to comply with all those GDPR compliances and also strict healthcare regulations. So once you have done that, then penetrating in another country is not that difficult, first of all. And when it comes to um, specific countries, they have, on top of the GDPR and other things, they have their own local regulations which apply to those kind of things. And then in certain East European countries, there are some, I would say, barriers, entry barriers, which are only can be broken through the local contacts. But in some of the countries, like for example, Germany, France, Netherlands, and either there you also there you can just probably highlight your case studies that way. And again, I would say that there are some bodies which are there, like for example, um, German Indo Innovation Corridor is one of the organizations founded by one of my friend. Similar to that, there are others which provide access to the market, and there are different levels basically where we want to go to. Again, it depends on to what level do we want to go to. Primary care can be accessible. In healthcare also, there are some of the people whom I know, they are working from India. They provide even healthcare workers to the German market. And then now they're trying to penetrate to other European markets. So through that channel also we can explore that. So again, let's just have the detail about your business and the product, and then we can look into how to open the market. No problem at all.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. That means there is a scope for service as well as
There
healthcare.
is,
Wow,
indeed,
wonderful.
indeed there is.
Thank you. We'll explore
Yeah,
service part
you're
as well.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think Laksh is saying something. Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Yogesh. Thank you so much for one taking us through the entire four countries and how the French landscape specifically works. Gives a lot of at least cultural understanding of what we are doing and what we're going to do there once we're there. So thanks for that. A little bit brief about what we do at Marbles Health. We're a brain health company wherein we're creating an alternative or adjunctive treatment to the current treatments, which are medicines for psychiatry and neurology. We're
Okay.
already there in India. We are trying to enter the NHS market in the UK, and US is an ongoing FDA thing. And we're the only ones who have approvals in India as well at the moment. My
Okay.
question specifically is with respect to the UK NHS, because for us, UK NHS is one of the biggest markets out there outside India, as big as the US market for us. And have you ever worked with the UK NHS market, and how is it different from the French market that you just explained? So primarily these two things.
Okay. So I would answer first of all that for the answer to the question, first question is yes. I mean, we have worked in for the UK healthcare market, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to comparison with French market, again, the major difference is the cultural aspect of it. The language is completely different, and then the sales cycle is different than UK. UK is primarily the English market, and then it's not that difficult to penetrate as compared to French market. So you have to have local, I would say, help in terms of either you contact someone who is already established player and then go with them to provide your services in addition to what they are providing, or take help from some of the bodies which are there, which provide sales support for a specific domain. There's no generic sales support type of thing, which is a kind of waste of money in my opinion. um, like lead generation and all that stuff, that doesn't work that way. So I think domain specific people in France will be able to help you more on that for penetrating French market that way. But scope is there. There's no doubt about it.
Got it. Got it. And just a quick question, probably to the larger organizing team. Would we also be bringing someone from again the NHS market to France? I can also write a separate email if required. So just a general question to the organizing team. But thank you so much, Yogesh, for also answering my question. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Actually, what was the question? Can you repeat that?
Sorry. So I am aware that we're also inviting a lot of foreign delegates to the event. Are we also planning to invite someone from the UK NHS trust? Uh, so that is the broader question. I can also put this request over email so that with more context.
Sure. In fact, I don't know whether you are on that group that we made for the first session where we were discussing this. We are going to circulate a form to capture such interest and then make those specific invitations out.
Got it. Super helpful. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Any final questions before we wrap up?
Maybe I'll ask one question.
Yes, please, please.
Just want to go back to that point that you had mentioned and explain, but because it is so ingrained that do not talk about 10x in 18 months. So maybe you can elaborate on it a little bit more because that is
Okay.
such a
So
main thing to talk
yeah,
about
this
that.
is absolutely. So this is very important aspect of culture when we talk about. So French people do not accept the aggressive approach, and like sort of you can say that they think of this as an overcommitment. So they want to be very practical. And as we know that there are so many good technologies which have come out of France, right? So they are really very good in certain technology areas. So they know how it works out and how what type of effort it takes to go deep dive into and even deep tech and all that stuff to produce the products and or even services. But then it's a kind of their working culture as well. They want to believe in practical aspects in step by step approach rather than upfront committing something. They believe that it is just for the sake of um, getting the contract somebody is committing like that. So um, on one hand we can say that 10x in 18 months in today's time period is not an overcommitment because of AI and all that stuff which we talk about, the evolution which has happened in technology field. However, for not for everything. So this particular 10x in 18 months was a sort of figurative
Yeah.
sentence in a way that do not overcommit, but definitely wherever it is necessary or it demands that put it in a certain way so that it doesn't look aggressive target for them, because they will also have to commit their time appropriately if they are accepting some overcommitment from the other person, because it will go on to them as well, because similar they will have to also put the effort in tune to achieve that particular amount of effort, things, and they don't want to do that. So they're not a kind of people who would like to put like 18 hours 20 hours a day type of effort in their work.
Yeah,
So
I saw that line work-life balance is very important and respect
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is why it was the kind of thing I mentioned. I hope
Yeah.
that
Yeah. So
explains.
some investors, etc., they may get excited about these kinds of sentences, but I assume
Yes,
that in this kind of cultural context, it has to be also substantiated with the nuanced list of steps that you are thinking about, so that
exactly.
they understand that you have actually a plan and this could be a target, but you
Yes,
understand that there are some milestones that you have to meet and all.
exactly. Instead of saying the first sentence as a 10x in 18 months,
Yeah.
show them the plan, which in turn
And
automatically they can
concludes
drive
that.
from that it will be
Yeah.
of that nature. That's a different story.
Sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, always.
I think there are no more questions. But Yogesh, any final note to the startups, like, before they are flying to France, like anything that you think?
So one thing I always say that nobody can predict future, right? And nobody can really know that whether this will work or that will work. We can know from our experiences that, okay, we can take certain steps, step after step, and all that stuff. The only thing which works is be confident in themselves, like people should be, but then do not be overconfident. So there is always a thin line between that. So the rest, everything will work. Things will be definitely there, which will be visible to you, and you need to pick the clues and then ride on that. Uh, just that important part is very important to understand it, that whether we are confident or we are overconfident. So if that understanding you are able to develop, then rest everything is okay. It's all cakewalk.